Okay, so this is what brought up this is what brought this up. So this thread happened, and so like this was actually the goal of the content today. Was I wanted to go through this thread. We're gonna go through the replies, and then we'll go through the quote retweets. And yeah, and we're gonna see what these people have to say, because I mean, you guys have had honestly, like, chat's takes today have been pretty mild. Honestly, I know some of them may feel like hot takes because your peers, I guess, but like honestly, like no take has been that insane in chat, except the most insane take I thought was the old games thing. I think that one's a little wild, but yeah, we're gonna take a look. Let me tweet about this real quick. Okay, hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? This thread happened recently, and it reads, what opinion on fighting games or the FGC would have you like this? So essentially this is like going to be a thread of hot takes. As you can see, there's quite a lot of quote retweets. We're going to be going over them today. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but I'm going to read some takes. I'm going to give my thoughts on them. You can feel free to agree or disagree. You know, if you want to leave one in the comments, you can as well. But yeah, this might get ugly. This might get this might get ugly. Did 8 people bookmark to come back later, or some ulterior motive? I mean, I bookmarked it because I don't browse Twitter actively, so I use bookmarks if I need it for like content is what I do. But okay, first one, anime fighting games are bad and playing them is a waste of money or talent. I mean, this is just hateful. This is just hateful. Like, yeah, this okay. Devs need to stop making female characters look like porn stars. Okay, I'm okay with this one. This one's not that bad of a take. I do think that like fighting games as of late, well, like fighting games kind of throughout history have kind of like always had like this sex appeal thing that they try to do with their women characters. I think either way is fine. Either like tone down what they do to women, or maybe upplay what they do to men. I think either one's probably fine. Just like, you know, just make it equal on both sides. Fuck it, bro. Like okay, Project L is going to suck ass, and free to play is not the future of fighting games. A lot of people gotta stop listening to Max sometimes, because dude has some bad takes. EU is annoying, and we aren't even that good at fighting games, so they need to be quiet, acknowledge they lost a first to 10. Okay, this guy all right, everyone in chat, because you guys are gonna be in this video, by the way, because you guys, I always put my Twitch chat during videos like that. I need you all to type schizo right now, the schizo emote in 7TV. I think that's what's going on here. Like, I think this guy's lost. I think he doesn't like Max, obviously. Like, so like it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious, like, when this happens, right? Like he brought Max up out of the blue, unprompted, bro. Like, completely unprompted. Like, no one said anything about Max, right? But he said a lot of people got to stop listening to Max. That means he has watched Max's content and doesn't like it. So he has like some type of hatred or something already going on. So like this already kind of delegitimizes like what he has to say, but it is what it is. Project Hill is gonna suck ass. I think this is like really in bad faith. Like there's not enough information to make that determination. The game's not in people's hands yet. How could you say it's gonna suck ass? That doesn't make any sense, right? If the game had like a beta or something that people played and you didn't like it, that would be one thing. But we don't even know what the game's gonna play like yet. We have like some ideas from what they've told us, but we literally don't have, like, this person just seems very calloused, like very calloused. Free to play is not the future of fighting games. This I wholeheartedly disagree with. I think free to play is the future of fighting games, actually. In fact, like one of the biggest barriers of entry to fighting games is that a lot of time you have to pay $60. You have to pay $60 to play the game, and then you have to go through learning the fighting game on top of that. if it's free to play, then people get rid of that barrier of entry. They're able to just pick up the game, and then they can make a decision of whether they want to go hard in it or not. But at least it gets people in the door, right? It gets people in the door, and that's very important because fighting games are very small in comparison, right? And so I actually disagree. I think free-to-play model is not only the future of fighting games, but like if you look at other game genres, it literally is the most successful business model, right? All the biggest games, all the biggest competitive games on the planet are free to play. They are. Fortnite, free to play. CSGO, free to play. Valorant, free to play. League of Legends, Dota 2, all of them free to play, right? All of it. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's accessibility, right? I don't know what the deal is with this EU thing is. EU is annoying and we aren't even good at fighting it. Like, I don't know what... Like, this guy's schizo. Like, I don't know what he's saying. I don't think... I don't know what it is. I don't know what he's saying, bro. Okay. Bro trying to farm interactions. That's fact. The FGC is actually a great community compared to other gaming communities like League, Valorant, or Overwatch. What makes you say that though? I wonder why people say that. Like, do people really think that there's like that drastic of a difference between gaming communities? Like, do people legitimately think that there's like some type of like crazy, like I feel like this is overblown. Like, why are you comparing to these games? Because they're bigger? Is that the reason? like they're just bigger games, so you think that you're better because you're smaller? I don't know. I don't really get that. I don't really get that. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. I don't hate it, but like I don't understand it. I don't really understand it. Health amount should be different depending on character archetype. Health balancing characters like Gigas with big body health and Akuma should be more of a glass cannon character like he is in a Street Fighter. I mean, this isn't a hot take. This isn't a hot take. The good old days are certainly not good. Not getting into IRL fights over tick throws or infinite. Yes, you had to digest that L because you lost your credits and lost your chances to play, but people back then were not willing to teach the plays as they are now. This is a really good take, actually. This is a good take. I think fighting game players romanticize the old days. That shit was not that good, bro. Every game had shitty netcode. People were literally fighting in spaces where people just wanted to play the game, right? Dev communication was even worse back then. I don't know why people like have this idea that the old days were the good days. Like I think things are much better nowadays than they used to be. You can argue about the game quality, right? But like community wise, like quality of life, I think it's much better to be a fighting game player now than it was back then. Yeah, people have double standards with comeback mechanics. I would need them to elaborate to like attack this take. Esports made the FGC worse. Like big companies just saw the popularity, took the bag and dipped. Missed the small companies being able to sponsor a lot more players. This is kind of a misunderstanding of how esports works. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? A lot of people have this take that esports made the FGC work or worse, but like they're not considering all the positives, right? People only look at the negatives when they talk about esports. They don't look at the positives. But you know, it is what it is. It is it. We as humans are wired to look at more at the negative than the positive. So I don't even blame him for this, but I do think it's a misunderstanding of how things actually work. It was actually becoming a better player. Yeah, no, it was definitely different back then. Lucky Chloe is an interesting and unique character in Tekken. I don't know enough about her to argue with that. Playing fighting games is just a hobby in the end. Some people take it way too seriously instead of focusing on their lives. Yeah, but like, what are you saying here? Like, what this is trying to say is like, playing fighting games is just a hobby in the end. Not to everyone, right? Some people, it is their livelihood. Some people, it is their passion. Some people, it is what gives their life meaning. You could like say that you don't think that that's a good thing or whatever, but it is what it is to those people. And that's why like when people have arguments over this game sucks, this game this game that, right? You don't know what things are to people, like especially like art, in general. Like I say the same thing about anime, right? The reason I don't go out and just say like, man, this show fucking sucks, you're an idiot for watching it, is because like at the end of the day, that might have a very special place in someone's heart. It might have saved them from going through a hard time. Their life might be improved by it in some way. So you really just don't know how relevant things are to people. So I don't like takes like this, because it's your perspective that playing fighting games is a hobby in the end, but not everyone is you. You're not living the same life as people. Some shows are hella degenerate though. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I have to call them dog shit. They're just not for me. Right? If we wanna have deep conversations on show quality, we can, but like there's no reason for me to make off-cuff comments like that. Like there's no reason. The only reason I would be doing that is performative reasons. Like I'm trying to get clicks on the internet. I'm trying to get people to agree with me, so I'm just gonna say some shit. I don't have anything to gain from saying that though, right? I don't have any reason to do that. Grapplers are fun and interesting characters that take skill. I mean, like, it's funny that this actually is a hot take, because like currently in fighting game community, grapplers and zoners are the two most hated archetypes for sure. So like, yeah, it's funny that this is a hot take, but like obviously like that is true. So yeah, rank is just a glossy sticker. That's not a hot take. Customization mode ruins Soul Calibur. As fighting games continue to get dumbed down, people might as well just play Smash. What? You think your game is more complicated than Smash? Don't you think? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you? So like, yeah, this is weird, because like I think the only people that don't like, I feel like you have to intentionally not know. Like it's a weird conversation. Smash is like way hard. Like I legitimately think that those games are like harder than traditional fighting games. Honestly. So like I don't know. I don't really get this take. But yeah, I guess he's just looking at the inputs, like, because they have side B, up B, all that. But like simplicity of the actual inputs themselves doesn't take away from the complicated nature of the interactions, and you know, the interactions, frame advantage, all that stuff. That doesn't have anything to do. So I don't really get that. It's kind of weird. Smash has some unique mechanics though, to be fair. Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. Shout outs to Raccoon writing that wrong. There you go. Fighting games need guest characters to be successful. This is just wrong. This is just wrong, because only very few fighting games have guest characters. Like very few. Like what fighting games have guest characters aside from Tekken and Soul Calibur? MK. It's not the norm. It's like guest characters are not the norm. So yeah, that's a weird take. It's a weird take. I mean, you have evidence that strongly suggests the contrary, so like I don't really get where he's coming from there. Input-based fighting games are a thing of the past, and if you want mass success in the genre, directional input needs to be developed into every game from now on. Directional input? Input-based fighting games are a thing of the past. I don't know what he means by this. What does he mean by this? Input-based fighting games are a thing of the past. If you want mass success, directional input needs to be developed into every game from now on. Oh, like Smash inputs? Oh. Okay. Actually not the worst take I've seen this far. That being said, I just think fighting games should have both. It'd be nice if they have both. And extra points if there's a reward for doing the more complicated input. But I will, he is onto something here. He is onto something here. What he's basically trying to say, or at least I assume what he's trying to say, is that the simplicity of inputs does not take away from the interactions between me and you as player to player. Fighting games are supposed to be player to player interactions. Me having to press forward in a button as opposed to having to do a quarter circle does not affect, right, That does not affect our interactions like that. And there is a conversation to be had about artificial difficulty. But that's a completely different conversation. But I think they should have both. I don't think it's a thing of the past. I think they should just have both. You can enjoy a fighting game with or without rollback. That's not a hot take. That's not a hot take. What do you think people did before Strive, bro? Fighting games only got rollback really like en masse because of Strive. What do you think people were doing before then? No, most games didn't have rollback. Hello? Was it good? Okay. People actually want easy wins. The hard games like Plus R are not hard once you actually practice. What? A lot of fighting game difficulty comes from... I'm sorry. I should... This is too large. I'm gonna move up here. Okay. People want easy wins. The hard games like Plus R are not hard once you actually practice. Like, that's not true. Most fighting game difficulty comes from interactions with your opponent. Like, anyone can grind execution to the point where you can execute consistently. Like, I don't really know what he's trying to say. Yeah, like that's kind of a non-statement to me. Like, the Capcom fanboyism of the 90s did more harm than good for the FTC. Man, there's a lot to unpack there. I don't know about that one, brother. Strings shouldn't even exist in Tekken. What? That's like a really important part of the game. Like, what? What this tells? Like, I'm reading this statement is I don't like Tekken. That's. I'm reading this statement is I don't like Tekken. Is what it sounds like. Okay. Your hot take is that the FGC is like this. That's not a hot take. FGC smells worse than Smash sometimes. I mean, that's just true. But honestly, like, the smell thing is overblown. An overwhelming majority of people that you like interact with at events, they don't smell. It's like 1 or 2 people maybe. There's plenty of events where I don't run into anyone that smells. Like at Frosty's, I didn't run into that. So like I don't know. It's definitely like a meme that went too far, but it's pretty similar. Like, there's been some ugly shit at fighting game events. There's been some ugly shit at Smash events too. It's same shit. Same shit. Fighting games should not be dumbed down to bring in a newer audience. This is the I mean, like, this is gonna come up a lot. Like, this game philosophy argument. People should think about what difficulty means. Artificial difficulty is generally always bad. There is a point of no return when we talk about it, but simplifying things to make things more accessible for new players is generally a good thing, I think. Because the more players you have, the more players you can potentially retain. If people are so intimidated by things in these games that they don't even want to take the plunge and get started, then you just lose out on potential people getting into the scene, right? If you think that the simplified inputs are closing the skill gap to the point where new players can compete with you and you're mad about it, that's a skill issue. That's a skill issue. Like, if your thought is, oh, they don't have to do a quarter circle, and so I'm afraid that I'm gonna get smoked by some random new person, you're just not good enough. That's just how it is. Okay. This is really far out there, but I sometimes feel like the FGC sets games and developers up to fail with ridiculously high standards and expectations. There's always more hate and negativity in the community more than optimism. There's the reason fighting games aren't popular. It's not the reason fighting games aren't popular. The reason fighting games aren't popular is because it's a really niche genre, and the reason that it's niche is because there's no dodging accountability in fighting games. When you learn fighting games, they're really hard to learn, and your losses are yours and yours alone. You also have to buy a $60 game, and some of them don't have good netcode. There's a lot of reasons that fighting games are not popular. And they also don't tend to have like the strongest IPs associated with them in comparison to some of the bigger games. There's a lot of reasons, right? High standards on devs is something that's pretty recent. And I think generally it's a good thing because we didn't have that before. We just kind of took whatever people had lying down. It's a community. Devs are a part of the community, just like players are. There should be a back and forth. There should be a back and forth between developers, the community, and ideally they both hear each other's perspectives on things, and the game is better as a result. And I think that's kind of like what we're pushing for. Ridiculously high standards. It only feels ridiculous because there were no standards before, I feel like. I really feel like that's why it feels that way, is because you're going from 0 to there actually being something. And so yeah, I don't know about them being ridiculously high, to be honest. I don't know. Always more hate and negativity. That's just social media and human nature. Human nature will always respond to negative more than positive. There's not really anything we can do about that. That only gets perpetuated by the fact that fighting games primarily exist on social media spaces. It's not really anything you can do about it, unfortunately, brother. I'm sorry. It just be like that. People like to pretend that fighting games are harder than they actually are. It's just like anything in life. The more time you put in, the better you will be. So stop getting mad when someone that puts time is better than you. Is this a hot take? I think fighting games are pretty hard. But I think competitive games in general are pretty hard. I think competitive games in general are harder than people think they are. For sure. But yeah, I don't think that's really that, like... Yeah, like, you're just saying, like, if you practice, you'll get better. Like, yeah, dude, like, that doesn't mean it's not hard, though, right? Like, okay. If I put 10,000 hours into a game so that that I know the ins and outs, super, does that make the game not hard? No, like, that doesn't mean it's not hard. It just means I took the time to learn it. Anyway. A lot of fighting game people will latch onto topics in the opinion of the masses because they crave social acceptance where they weren't given when they were in grade school. That's why they would rather dog-like a person with a dog pile, okay, a person with a different opinion rather than just not caring about it. This is some deep-seated, like he was waiting for an opportunity to have this take. He was waiting for his opportunity. This is just social media. That's my response. This is just social media. Yeah. Numpad notation is hideous, and while having a reference object is neat, having numbers skip around doesn't intuitively convey motion. If a numerical notation was made without a reference object, it would look something like this. Sure. I mean, this is just preference, though, right? I think numerical notation can be quite good in some cases. It's just preference. Saying 236 instead of quarter circle forward is like, there's not really a difference in my eyes. Yeah, I don't. Okay. Oh, okay. This guy's an iFunny. People are afraid of change are worse for a fighting game than new players will embrace it. Wait, people are afraid of change are worse for a fighting game than new players that embrace said changes. Okay, sure. That's not really a hot take. I don't think. I don't agree or disagree with it either. I don't think that's really a hot take though. 4-3 aspect ratio fighting games are more dynamic and interesting than the 16:9. Why are we classifying by aspect ratio? This is weird. What the shit? Akuma's a fair character. Y'all niggas are just bots. What game is he talking about it? I don't even know. I can't even adjust that, bro. I think we talking about Tekken. I have no idea. The FGC is full of snowflakes with hot takes. Rodimus. Oh boy. Rodimus, this I see this a lot too. People talking about like, oh, the FGC is soft, it's snowflakes, right? A lot of that actually comes from the fact that people actually suffer consequences for just saying shit nowadays. Honestly, I think that is a lot of it. People are used to being able to say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and face no consequences. Nowadays, it's not like that. You say some shit, you're gonna get hounded on social media. You're gonna suffer consequences for it. I don't think that makes people snowflakes. I really don't. I just think that you have to accept responsibility for your actions. That being said, like, you know, once again, you're looking through the lens of social media. Like, being offended and taking things in bad faith is a big part of social media. That's especially Twitter. Twitter is just like that. Twitter is literally meant to do that. That's why quote retweeting exists. is so that you can take something the complete wrong way on purpose and try to get clicks and traction out of it. That's the point. But I don't think that the dynamic of like people suffering consequences for their actions makes people snowflakes. And I do think that the environment in the community is a much safer place now than it was before. So yeah, I don't think I agree with that. There will be no good fighting games in the future because ArcSys and Capcom now make really high quality but mad easy fighting games that live for 2-3 years and die forever. What? Do you think there will be no good fighting games in the future? What? Huh? I don't even understand this take. Like, this is this is a little schizo. And this guy's name is also schizo. I disagree because like, what does that have to do with game quality, right? Like you're saying there'd be no good fighting games in the future. What is a game living for 2 or 3 years does not mean it wasn't a good game during that time. Most of the time, it just means a new installment came out. That doesn't mean that the game before was not good, right? It just means that people moved on. People can move on from good games. Like, yeah, like there's not an issue with that. Like, okay. Fighting games with customization options and color edit should let you customize your character for 10 minutes before starting a set in offline. Okay, this guy just hates TOs. Cammy was never OP in SF5. Most of all of her moves are not safe on block, has low health, and stun gauge, no projectiles. Hooligan easily gets countered with jab. This is theoretical. In actuality, that character was running shit, bro. So I don't think you can really I don't think that was yeah. We need to implement some form of segregation between anime fighting game players and the rest of us normal fighting game players. This guy is literally just prejudiced. Like, that's just straight up prejudice. I don't even... Okay. It's all games at the end of the day. Being a zealot or condescending prick is only telling us what type of issue you have going on at home. It's not that deep. FGC isn't a trauma support center. I kind of agree with the first part of this. Like, it's games at the end of the day. Being a zealot or condescending prick is only telling us what type of issues you have going on at home. People should be nice to each other, is what he's saying. That's not a hot take. And people should keep it in game. I agree. That being said, like, this part, it's not that deep. FGC isn't trauma support center. It is that deep for some people, right? It really is. That's what I've been trying to say. Like, for some people, it is that deep. It is that important for them. People have made friends that they never would have made otherwise. People have made lifelong friends in this community, right? FGC fighting games changed my life. Straight up. I would not be who I am today without fighting games. I wouldn't. And I imagine there's a lot of people that their lives have also been impacted by fighting games in one way or another. And so, like, for them, it might be that important. It might very well be. So I just don't think you can really say that without, yeah. Grizzly bears greater than polar bears? I don't, what are you comparing them? It's like, I don't, players that play too damn defensively, spam zoning, do the cheapest shit. In rank, it's one thing to troll for one round, but if you rely on that to climb the ranks, I'm gonna need y'all lame asses to touch grass. Even worse, have the audacity to say get good. Nah ho, you get good. No, but actually get good though. Like, this is scrub quote worthy. Like, you're pretty much saying, I don't know how to fight these things, and so I hate them and they should go away. Like, yeah. The fuck? I don't know what you're doing. Okay, we gotta go to the quote retweet. Now, this is where it's gonna get ugly, guys. This is where it's gonna get ugly. We've got past the replies, though we gotta go to the quote retweets. Oh, fuck. Me and Mike are kind of the reason you know so many people say preacher. Hey, no problem, bro. I'm glad you're a part of my community, man. Honestly, and I mean that. If I have made a positive impact on one person's life from all of this, then I think that's a win in my book. So, O2ers should pay 50% more to enter bracket over top players. I think it's the opposite. The top players should pay more because they're more likely to win it back. The FGC is full hypocritical, prideful, fickle people who have no reason to talk about what matters in a fighting game or what it should and shouldn't do when they value less than half the product. Is this like a casual saying that he hates the competitive criticism that fighting games get? Let's see. You lose your shit the moment a game brings in certain features or for casuals. Yeah, it is. Never mind the fact that you people play top tier and or easy to play characters. You either consume all that's given to you because you aren't given a lot, or you only support one game company because it validates and structures your egos regardless of the quality of the product. Or hell, it's because the only one you can handle. This is the weird take. This is schizo. This is schizo. So in there is like some validity with, I do think that like people tend to discount casuals a lot when they talk about fighting games when they do matter, right? I do think that casuals matter to a fighting game community. If we're gonna call ourselves a community, everyone's takes matter, right? Everyone's input is welcome here. Casuals are just as important, right? They really are. That being said, right, this just seems like you're calloused. Like you're really calloused about maybe like some very big names talk about the way the game is that you disagree with. You got to understand that people play games for different reasons. If people are playing the game solely to be competitive, they're not going to care about the casual. They're not going to care about the casual side of things. I wish they would be more considerate, sure, but at the end of the day, like, people are just people. They're going to care about what they care about, and they're kind of just going to ignore everything else or not care about it. But a lot of people do attack it the wrong way. Some people think that, oh, well, because they put in this casual feature, they could have spent more time on this patch, right? That's not really how it works. And like, there are more people to cater to than just competitive. So like, yeah, it's weird. If there's no casual who's playing the game besides higher top level players, exactly, right? It's a community at the end of the day, right? It's not as people do need to understand that. Like, there's more than just us out here. Honestly, we as the FGC should focus more on helping others out of... Wait, what? Helping others out or focus on the fun aspects of fighting games than tier lists and shit talking against matchups and characters. It won't hurt to ask others, how can I beat this matchup? How can I adapt? Sure, this is not really a hot take, I don't think. Not really a hot take, but I agree. You'll never get anywhere complaining about top tiers and saying they're scummy. You own the game same as everyone else. It's a dumb mindset to have, and it just discredits people who are actually good at their game or character when you're actually much worse than them, but you think it's your character. This is also not a hot take. If you're making a BNB video for a character, just use numpad notation, not the names of the moves. Make shit less annoying for everyone. Also, I really don't like fighters, so this is 2 takes. Just use numpad notation. Well, it depends on the game, right? It depends. It depends on the game, because like some games, I think you just do what your community usually does, because some games use numpad notation and some don't at all. Like, I don't think Street Fighter ever uses numpad notation. They just do quarter circle and shit like that. So I think you just do whatever is most common in your community. You really don't like fighters. That's not really a hot take, I don't think. I mean, I don't either, so you know. The excuse of I work full-time isn't valid anymore. 90% of the FGC has a day job because they make time to support their locals and go to tournaments to get good. If you're really serious or really enjoy something, make the time for it. Oof! This is so close to being a good take. This is so close. This is so close to being a good take. But, so here's the problem. If you are using, like, so my thing is people need to decide what they want. Right. If your goal is to be the best in the world, then I would agree with this, that you working full time is an excuse, because if you want to be best in the world, you know what it takes to get there. Right. You know what it takes to get there. You should not be using that excuse as a reason why you lost. Right. It's a valid reason for why you can't put as much time into things. That is definitely valid. People have lives. 100%. But and for an excuse to why you're losing, I don't think it's valid. But absolutely, people have, I wish I could spend more time streaming and playing fighting games. I have an aunt to take care of. I got shit, right? It'd be like that, right? That's valid. Everyone's lives are different. Not everyone's gonna have the same amount of time. So that's why I'd say it's almost a good take. It's almost a good take. You just don't know people's situations. You can't make sweeping generalizations like this. Saint, what's up, man? I'm not Cali Mac, bro. I'm Khalil, bro. What's up, man? How you doing? Smash Bros is a party game and wave dashing is a glitch. But who asked, first of all? Even if I agree with you, right? Let's say Smash Bros is a party game and wave dashing is a glitch. So? People only say things like this to try to discredit the people that are good at these games. Why the fuck would this matter to anyone? Right? Who cares? Project L is gonna flop the same way Multiverses did. That is just... I don't think that's possible. I don't think this is possible. I really don't think this is possible. We're talking about League of Legends, bro. We're talking about League of Legends here. like even if you like wanted to engage with this, like even if you want to be skeptical, like being skeptical of Project L is like one thing, but I do think here's my counter take, right? A lot of people are using Project L's hype and how much people are looking forward to it to just actively be haters. Like people hate that people are excited for it. Let them be excited for it. People, we have nothing to do but look forward to better times, guys. That's the human experience, right? Things happen. We look forward to better times. We hope things get better. People hope that Project L is going to be good and it's going to do good things. Why are you mad at that? Because you're hateful? You want to sound intellectual? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't really get what your plan is here, because you don't have any data. You haven't played the game. And Riot has done extremely well with their games in the past. All of their free-to-play games are doing spectacularly. They're the most popular games on the planet. Like, I have no reason to believe that Project L will be a flop. There's literally no, like, there's nothing that points to Project L is gonna be a flop, other than I hate Riot and I hope that they fail, so I'm just gonna say some shit for clicks. That's the only thing I don't understand. I really don't get it there. I don't get that. Easing execution of difficult commands should never be a thing, especially if easier input yields the same reward. I disagree. I think like artificial difficulty is a thing. Like, for example, right? So I'm gonna present the concept of the point of no return, right? So at some point you have to draw a line of what we deem acceptable and what tests the skills that we want to test, right? What skills are valuable in fighting games. We make the decisions based on what we deem valuable, right? If every time you wanted to do a medium punch, let's say every time you want to do a medium punch, you had to do a full start input just to press one button, the game would be more difficult, absolutely. But is that valuable? It's not, right? It's not valuable. And so like there's a point where there's like a sweet spot where it still tests the things that you want to test without being needlessly complicated for the sake of it being complicated. The people that want there to be super complicated inputs, most of it comes from the fact that they want to feel like they're better than other people because they can do the input and other people cannot, right? When in reality, you might not have a better thinking mind. You might not. They might have a better mind for fighting games than you. Maybe they just have a harder time with execution. But really, the mind thing is what we're looking to test, right? That's what's valuable in a fighting game, is the decision making, right? And the interactions player to player. So I don't know why people put so much emphasis on this input needs to be really difficult. It's because you can't use it as an elitist feeling to feel better than other people, is where it mostly comes from. But yeah, I think like it's okay to have some type of execution, but like I don't think it needs to be like so a lot of difficult inputs in older games are unnecessary as well, like straight up, right? Like you play a season worth of games and get what, a character costume, no guarantee it was a character you play. Yeah, that's just free to play model, bro. Like DNF Duel is a prime example of thinking easy inputs means easy combos, and look how that turned out. It'd be like that. Before we worry about orgs, money, and sponsorships, we need to deal with the internal problems first. This is not a hot take, but it's also a take that'll never be addressed. The fighting game community is the reason that fighting games are not huge. They have so much potential, and the community itself shoots itself in the foot. This is just correct. This is not a hot take. Just because an insanely fucked up character is hard doesn't make a character respectable. This is also correct. In my experience, a character being imbalanced or bad for the game is not really impacted by difficulty, because in my experience, if it can be done, someone will do it, right? And that's evidenced by, you know, Fox in Melee is the hardest character. Input-wise, APM, you have to do a lot of things, right? Execution's really hard on that character. People still do it. Doesn't matter that it's really hard, right? It doesn't matter because people put in the time and they learn it. And so, like, yeah, like you should evaluate a character's strength on their tools, and not necessarily how easy or difficult they are, right? It just doesn't. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, if it's broken with simple inputs, it's broken with difficult inputs too. Trust me. It's just how it goes. Tier lists are just awful. While they're a good conversation starter, everyone's list is just heavily biased with a bunch of characters they play against in their region. Discuss matchups instead. It really depends, man. I generally am not a fan of tier list discourse, mostly because people are used to engaging with them in bad faith nowadays. Like, instead of looking at someone's tier list and being like, huh, I wonder why they think that, most people's reaction is, wow, this character is in this slot instead of this one. This guy's a fucking idiot. He has no legitimacy. I think people need to get into the habit of asking people questions about why they think what they think, instead of just taking a look and being like, well, this guy's not legitimate because he thinks this, right? Because where they come from might open your eyes to a completely new perspective you didn't have before. I think that's much more healthy for games than just like straight up, you know, just putting a tier list out there and then having people engage with it in bad. That's why I don't like tier lists that much, but it'd be like that. Do people still make matchup charts? Some people do. Yeah, some people do. Letting a game. Oh, what's up, Tito? What's up, bro? Letting a game's active audience form your opinion on a game. Then your favorite game. Wait, what? Letting a game's active audience form your opinion on a game when your favorite game is like Melty Blood, Act Cadenza, or some shit is extra wild. What? Letting a game's active audience form your opinion on a game when your favorite game. It just seems like he hates Melty Blood. Is what it seems like. I guess, like, you shouldn't play fighting games. You should not play any game because you think it's the right thing to play. Does that make sense? You shouldn't play any game because you feel like it's the right thing. You should play it because you like it. That's, if you're looking for validation from your peers playing a certain game, that's not the right reason. That's not the right reason. Play the game because you like to play the game. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. You'll give a thread? Oh, hell no, I'm not reading that shit. The fuck? People talk about people talk about how inviting and welcoming the community is, but then turn around and support some of the most vitriolic, reprehensible, and abhorrent voices within the scene. Completely backwards and completely unserious. This is just correct. This is not a hot take. But there are inviting parts of it and there are welcoming parts of it. It's not all bad. FGC is not all bad, right? There is bad in it, but it's not all bad. Of course not. Yeah. Be nice to beginners and casuals. Is this a hot take? They boost the sales way more than the sweaties and are a reason to give genres survives. Oh man, damn, I was so with you. I was so with you until here. So like, be nice to beginners and casuals. You should be nice to everyone. Why do we have to say be nice to people? Don't be a fucking asshole. Like, that's, yeah, like, I don't, okay. Boosting sales though, like, I don't think that that's the reason that you should be nice to them. You should be nice to them because they're human beings. And yeah, you want your community to not be a fucking cesspool is why you should be nice to them. Not because they boost sales. They're not, the casuals are not there just to boost sales and then die. That's not what they're there for. They're humans just like you and me. They're what give us viewership. There's all that, right? I don't like the second part of this. But yeah, you should be nice to people. Yeah. Project L will save the FGC. I don't know. I don't think any single game can save the FGC because the FGC's problems are the FGC. Project L will not take the FGC out of the FGC, so the FGC needs to save itself. I don't think it can be saved by a game. But I do think the game will do well. The FGC doesn't need to be saved. It could use some work on some things. It can use some work. It can use some work on some things. But they're doing well though. I do agree that gets overblown too. Smurf players can't deal with losing players at the rank level, so they take on new players. This behavior is on every fighting game, and I'm so wait, Smurfs? Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Learning a fight. This is not even just a fighting game take. This is this is just a game take in general. Like, you just hate Smurfs. That's hilarious. It can improve, but we aren't gonna die. Yeah, so like save implies going to die without. I think what most people mean when they say save though, well, like at least from my perspective, I think like when people say save, what they actually mean is like they want it to like grow a lot and become as big as they want it to get, and they're trying to think how to get from point A to point B. But I agree, the language is being used incorrectly. It's not in danger of dying. Fighting games will always be around, absolutely. But there's definitely a lot of improvements we can do, for sure. Fighting games don't need to be easier, the tutorials need to be better. We've been on this accessibility wave since 2008, and niggas are still not getting proper in-game tutorials, not putting in the work to understand the game more. It's two sides of the same coin. I'm not reading this thread, but I think in some cases they do need to be easier. I agree, tutorials do need to be better though. But I do think that some of them are better nowadays though. Like, didn't people like Shy's tutorial? Didn't people like Shy's tutorial? I do think in-game tutorials need to be better, but I also think that trimming the fat of unnecessary difficulty is like generally a good thing. But yeah. This isn't a bad thing. This isn't a bad thing. When NPCs dodge me and tell you don't play a real character. Wait, what? When NPCs dodge you, NPCs? This is very condescending to start things. Okay, when NPCs dodge me and tell you don't play a real character because tilted little shits get outplayed and outcalculated, that's a personal problem. Some of the NPC players lack work ethic. This is some okay, he has someone in mind when he made this. He's just not saying their name. That's my response to this. You are talking about someone specific. You're not telling us who though. Just say it, bro. We need to bring back some of the old ways. Got an issue with someone first to 5. Big issue, put some money on it. You can't force culture. Is why I have an issue with this take. You can't force culture. If the culture is not, if it's not built on money matching and exhibitions, you shouldn't force it to be that way, right? That type of stuff has to be organic. The reason that old school money matches and exhibitions, the reason that they were hype was because they happened organically, naturally, right? Not because they were forced, right? You gotta let that stuff happen normally. Some games are just not like that. Some game communities are just not like that, and that's fine. It's okay like that. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, I assume he means in-game. Because out-of-game stuff should never be solved with in-game shit. If I think you're a shitty human being and you're doing shit that's not good for the community, I don't care how good you are at the game, right? It doesn't fucking matter. What's playing a first to 5 gonna solve? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, no. I assume he meant in-game, but if not, then I don't think... Women are not excluded from the scene. We are welcomed with open arms, but you don't like this narrative that women always have it bad here. We all get toxic messages from here. Women are men. Should we get them? No, but the world is a toxic place and needs improvement for gender. What? This seems like pretty dispassionate. I mean, of course they don't always have it bad, but generally the experience is worse. Like that as just evidenced, right? Like I think you're not attacking the issue. Like I don't think you're attacking the issue at hand here. Leverless equals cheating. Okay. Capcom Pro Talk was great. Melgross got robbed. Combos aren't more interesting than hard reads. Who is even? I don't even know if this is a take. Who even argues this? I don't know. Leverless equals cheating. I mean, it's literally not. Cheating is only cheating if it's against the rules. If leverless controllers are allowed to be played on, then it's not cheating. It's that simple. It's like the community places way too much importance on new player experience or growing the game. Oh my god, this is such a horrible take. Holy shit. No, 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 no. That is the thing to focus on. This is what you should focus on. Yes. Yeah, this is very important. This is very important. It's not too much importance. It's not. People should care about new player experience. They should care about growing the game. That's, yeah. If you want it to thrive, you should. Why would you not? Doesn't make sense. I don't even get that. Oh, this guy again? Everybody that acted like Tekken 7 Rage Art got better drastically because the camera angle change from Tekken 7 to Tekken 7 Faded Retribution is the worst kind of shill. Get so? I don't even want to get into that. Meteor special Rage Art should be gone from 3D fighters. Go back to pure martial arts. I mean, like, I don't even know what the general thought is on that, so I can't really argue with that. The real golden era of fighting games was between 2003 and 2013. We had the best games on solid consoles. This is like something that will happen. This will happen until the end of time. People will look at the era right before this one and be like, that was the best era. 10 years from now, people will be looking at the current era with Strive and shit. They'll be like, that was the best era. That will happen. This will just always happen. That's all you're doing here. You're saying, I like these games more than I like the newer games. That's not really a take. It's just a preference, man. That's not... Yeah. If you quote retweet this, you have a 90% chance of getting muted by this account. I hope... show me the metrics, bro. I want to see 90% people getting muted, bro. Yeah, I'm saying, Bobby, it's like, what? The FTC has a serious issue with idol worship at times that mirror mainstream stan culture. Except y'all going crazy over gamers that wouldn't even be able to skip the line at McDonald's. Okay, this is correct, but I don't like the end part of it. You're right with the idol worship. It is a problem, and it does need to, get better. But at the same time, crazy over gamers that wouldn't even be able to skip the line at McDonald's. It's like, you want the games to get to that point though, right? Who is that bad for? If I like a fighting game, I want it to get to the point where the people that are great at it are legitimate celebrities. If my favorite fighting game got to the point where we had as much money and endorsements as like an NBA or an NFL, that'd be fucking lit, right? That's the end goal of esports, right? That's what we're trying to get to. You should want those better conditions for your players, and you should want it to be legitimized as much as possible. So I don't really get this. Also, there are games, there are people that have broken into mainstream in the past. It's not that many, but there are a few. So, there's more to life than being good at fighting game. Sure, bro. Like, this isn't a hot take, but once again, I go back to the fact that for some people, this is their life and their livelihood. So yeah, you're not even like, why? I don't even understand how you could type this on a hot take quote retweet. Like, this is like the most non-statement ever. Anyway, like, what celebrity is going to a McDonald's and wants to skip the line in the first place? Can we talk about that? Who the fuck is even doing that? Okay. Anyway, you won just because I don't know the matchup? Huh? I mean, so is this them saying this? You won just because I don't know the matchup? That's a skill issue, bro. Learning matchups is a part of being a skillful player. You lost because you're worse. That's just how it goes. Anyway, Kusoge players are actually the strongest. They just don't play games that get attention. You need to tell me, like, what is even considered Kusoge nowadays? Because, like, I mean, a lot of games that are mainstream now would have been considered Kusoge back then. Right? People considered Guilty Gear Kusoge until Strive. Melty Blood, before Type Lumino, definitely considered Kusoge, right? So, like, yeah, I need some elaboration on that. What does Kusoge mean? It's Kusoge is just, yeah, it just means like it literally translates to shitty game. And it's just a term that people use whenever they don't like games. Yeah. It's like games where like power levels are like pretty fucking crazy. Or like in some cases like games don't like function the way that they're supposed to. Yeah. Like a lot of people would consider DNF like modern Kusoge, like, but I mean, I don't think it is, but a lot of people would consider it that way because power level is really high. You die for a lot of things. They're like, this game sucks. It's obvious. It's actually in there. Yeah, the fighting game glossary is sick. If most players pushed more of their in-game buttons than their keyboard buttons via Twitter, they might actually make it out of pools. But what about the people that do both? Would Marvel 2 be Kusoge? No, because Marvel 2 is Marvel. So the thing, Marvel is protected by the fact that it's Marvel. Marvel is an anime game. Like that's what people really don't like. People don't understand that Marvel is an anime series, right? It just dodged all of the anime criticism because it's Marvel, right? Because Marvel is something that is extremely popular in the West. So it never gets that level of scrutiny, right? But yeah, like it 100% is an anime game. It's a 100%. Gamers low-key fear fighting games because there's no one else to blame if you lose. I mean, like, there's some truth to that. I think that's something that sets fighting games apart from a lot of other games for sure. You have to take accountability, and that's hard for a lot of people. Project L won't save the FGC like y'all think it will. I need to know who y'all is. I don't know who y'all is because I feel like people are creating imaginary people. Like, yes, there are people that think this, but is it really to the point that like you need to make a take about it? I need to see these factions of people that all think that it will save the FGC. I need to see that before I can even. I think it will be good for the community. It's crazy how Smash players say fighting games are too hard. Yeah, I think Smash is harder, to be honest, having been involved with both. But it's funny because I think players from both sides think that the other, like people that actually know what they're talking about, think that the other game is harder in both ways. Like I think high-level fighting game players think Smash is harder, and I think high-level Smash players think fighting games are harder, which is hilarious. It was like actually pretty funny. The esports crash is actually a good thing for fighting games. What? Why? The fighting game community took some of the biggest hits. The fighting game community took some of the biggest hits on the esports crash. We lost CLG, we lost Panda, we lost Beyond the Summit. Those are 3 huge hits. I don't see how that could be a good thing. Will we recover from it? Eventually be better for it? Sure. But like, no, bro. Like that's horrible. People losing their teams and avenues to live out their livelihood is never a good thing. Why would you think that that's a good thing? In fact, fighting game players are the worst off if something happens like that, right? Because if you're not sponsored as a fighting game player, your tournament winnings usually are not enough to like live on like that. And you have to fly all of these places alone. If a League of Legends professional player loses their team, they were getting paid $1 million salaries anyway. They're good. They're good while they look. Right? So I super disagree with this. Super disagree. People are way too nice to TOs in general. TOs have power, especially at a local level, and it's really easy to be a shitty or exploitative TO. Also, the players are always more important than the TOs. This is the weirdest take I've ever seen. This is the weirdest take. This is the weirdest take I have ever seen, bro. Why? I don't get that. You're saying people are way too nice to TOs because they can be shitty or exploitative, but what about players? Are we too nice to players because they can be shitty? Players are almost more important than TOs. Now, okay, I don't want to get into this argument, honestly, but like, because I've had this conversation with people back at Penn State when I was running things for Melee. Without players, there is no scene. I could agree with that. But without TOs, there is no structure. And so, like, it's not a, like, one is more important than the other thing. Like, I don't think. I think it's supposed to be, like, both sides are putting in an equal amount of effort. I don't see why you would think it would be skewed more towards one than the other. It's like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't really get that. This is a really, like, I really hate this take, because you're advocating for people to be less nice to TOs. TOs in the fighting community are literally like the most sacrificial people you've ever met in your life. And I mean that. I mean that when I say they're the most sacrificial people. Like, they're doing this out of the kindness of their heart, bro. Really. We're not making enough money for this to be worth it as a job. There are like 3 TOs on this planet that can do this job full time. Everyone else is just doing it because they really like fighting games. There's no other reason. Because there's no payoff. There's no payoff monetarily or status wise that makes it worth it to like time sink and go through all the stress and then deal with players like this that tell you that people are too nice to you. Okay, I mean, like, that's weird. That's a weird take. It's a weird take. Fighting games are a me versus you type of situation. If you learn one fighting game in depth, you can play other ones and be somewhat competent, at least from your perspective. This is not a hot take. Yeah. Newer games aren't exactly easier than older games. Bro, people don't understand how hard TOing is. This is what people don't really get. I think that's why he's willing to say things like that, but it is what it is. Newer games aren't exactly easier than older games. It's just that more information and tools to learn the games properly are available online, are built into the games themselves. Example, Strive would be hard if it hit arcades back in 92 with no dust loop to help learn it. That's part of it. That's part of it. I could agree with that. But in some ways, like, games are being made easier. Like, they are, there are things that devs do to make the skill floor lower, right? Which is like, you know, it's not a good or a bad thing. It just is. It just is what it is, right? Like, yeah. Either way. Would rather fight a top tier that's the best at everything and plays the game better than anyone than a goober knowledge check on a robbery mid tier every time, both online and in bracket. I mean, like, this is the preference thing. Wait, this is the preference thing. I've definitely seen this sentiment before, though, so I don't even know how hot of a take that is, to be honest. If we're talking about most competitive players, those who actually show up to tourneys and go to locals, and a good chunk of online warriors, we might actually have the most friendly and welcoming gaming community compared to most communities, specifically FPS and MOBAs. Why? Why do you think that way? I'm actually curious as to why Mike Tastic thinks this way. Like, why? Like, I feel like there's like this dynamic where fighting games continually like compare themselves to these bigger games, but like, why do you feel that way? Do you feel that way because it's smaller? Is that the only reason? I don't know. I think every gaming community would be welcoming if you go to the right places, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like, I don't know what makes them feel that way. Yeah, it's a little weird. Y'all are old and love to be abused. That's funny. Like, your friend who was not FGC but has tried going to locals has expressed to you that he felt that way. But he also said, it is the offline. Like, that literally the only reason you would say this is because fighting games live and die by offline. But that is changing, right? There's more and more of an emphasis in FGC in the online experience, and as time goes on, it will look way more similar, I think. So, yeah. Even the champions of the FGC aren't good people. Trust me, I know. This guy's a fucking conspiracy theorist. We saw one of his takes earlier as well. If you have something to say about someone, then just say it. What do you have to gain from holding it back? You trying to make yourself look smart? Is that what you're doing? I don't really understand this. Yeah, weird. But yeah, being good at a video game doesn't automatically make you a good person. Sure. Weird. The increase in popularity for the FGC killed fighting games. Killed fighting games, huh? You're just wrong. Yeah, you're just wrong. You think companies would double down on online if COVID never happened? I think that fighting games would have eventually had the great rollback genesis, I think that would have happened. It would have happened way later though. I think COVID sped it up because then it became a necessity, right? Because if you don't have good netcode during COVID, you can't play the game. But I think it would have happened eventually, the push for better netcode and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that don't have locals. There's a lot of people that play fighting games that don't have people around them to play it. Online will always be important. Online experience will always be something that's important. So I think it would have come up, it just would have taken it longer. There hasn't been a good tutorial. Wait, there hasn't been a good tutorial as good since. As good as what? Oh, do you mean Virtual Fighter 4 Evo? Okay. I don't know about the tutorial, so I can't even. Any form of meter for special supers should be by the health bars. Don't know what you mean by this. Is he asking for more comeback mechanics? I don't really know what he's asking for here, to be honest, so I can't really. Oh, like literally where they are on the heads-up display. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know if I agree with that though. It's gonna get really cluttered up there. I think Street Fighter does this now, right? Isn't Street Fighter's EX meter at the top? Was it SS6? I was like that. HUD actually means something. Yes, man. I think is Street Fighter's meter at the top. I think like it's hard to just say this because it depends on how much shit you have on the game, bro. You can't just stick everything up there. It just depends on the style, the style and whatnot. It's kind of weird. Literally saying anything on this app. Minus. You didn't actually tech that. Haha. FTC don't need saving. Okay. A lot of time, but all. Wait, what? A lot of time, but not all. I don't like fighting games equal. I don't like losing to someone. Losing with no one else to blame. It's one of the few mainly 1v1 genres in gaming and outside of high comp matches anyone can beat anyone. Not being able to just boot up and shit on kids keeps a lot away. Sure. But like there's also people that just don't like the way certain games are too. And that's also valid. So yeah, accountability is definitely lacking for people. A person learning a fighting game seriously for the first time actually serves as one of the greatest examples to explain the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, get me out of here. The fighting game players do not actually like fighting games. Knowledge of other games requires you to understand, play, and spend time on them to a degree. Especially older pre-SF4 era players are symptomatic and superficial conclusions about other fighting games. I feel like this person is trying to make themselves sound really smart. But in reality, that's like, you didn't have to word it like this. Like, like this, like, bro. Why are you like this? And I also disagree. Like, you're just attacking people on Twitter. Like, obviously people like fighting games, bro. Like, most of the current issues in the FTC can be traced to OGs. They could have done things better but refuse to take blame. I'll keep it civil and leave it at that. Oh my god. Yeah, I know, but like, he didn't have to say it that way. Bobby. Just say it. Right? Again, like, people like to feel like, I guess people do this to make themselves look like they're like an authority or like they're really well informed or something, but like, just say it, bro. Like, what do you have to gain from holding it back? Just a lurker. You have 30 followers, bro. Like, I do think that like, the concept of like OG is a little weird in fighting games, because like I mean, I think in any community, like the people that have the most recognition, it should be because they continually push for things to be better. If you did something 20 years ago, that's cool, and we thank you for that, but you shouldn't be able to coast on that for 20 years while not actively doing things to make the scene better. That is like kind of what I have to contribute to that. Yeah. Did that person just blame boomers for the ozone layer? Yeah, man. You saw James Chen's opinion. He said the only real OGs are like him and Mike Watson. Yeah, there's not that many OGs left. It depends on like how, like, cause I mean, fighting games did get a lot of new players recently, with this current generation. So like, you know, there's some people that probably consider people that were playing at SF4 OGs at this point. It just, I don't really know. The esports crash incoming will make it easier to be a part of the FGC. Is this the same person that said that it was good for the FGC? Like this is I don't know why you guys want esports to fail. You really just don't understand how negative it is for fighting games as well. In your opinion, Low Tier God is the only FGC figure to hit celebrity status in the scene right now. That's just false. Daigo is quite literally a celebrity. Literally. They have parades for Daigo. He's literally a celebrity. That is just not right. Complaining about a character is fine. The esports bubble popping sucks, but honestly, it's better to not let people think they're closer to the games than they actually are. I mean, like, the bubble popping was inevitable, but I wouldn't say it was a good thing. Like, do you just want every bubble to pop then? Like, do you want it to never recover? Do you think that would be better? A Daigo parade? No, he's like really famous. Like, you guys don't understand like how, like, Daigo is, he's him. Complaining about a character is fine. It's not that I refuse to learn the matchup. It's that I'm playing the video game for fun, and some characters are just not fun to fight. This is fine. I mean, like, yeah, you're free to have that take, but if you start talking about like the competitive nature of things, you got to be ready for that pushback as well. If you put a take out there about a character, people play those characters, people care about matchups, they care about the game, they're gonna talk on it, and you should not feel hurt if they disagree with you. You want it to recover organically, not have industries invest and make us think we could sustain the glory forever. What do you mean by that though? Industries invest? Industries investing is like how anything succeeds. No, like how do you think bigger esports got to where they are? You think there's no industrial there at all? Because like it's all like, how do you think sports got big? It's because of companies and endorsements and sponsorships, and so I don't really get what you mean by that. Like, we have to get to that step no matter what, right? What is the ROI for them by investing? Well, I mean, that's a different conversation though, right? Like, the return on investment for it's because it's an investor, right? Like, that is, we are not a worthwhile investment at the moment, but that's why it's an investment. They're getting in while it's cheap in hopes that it will be bigger eventually, right? That's like literally the principle of investing, is that you believe in something, so you're betting on it to be bigger down the line. Right now, ROI on fighting games are not great. They're not. Can it get there? I think so. Probably get there eventually. But there's a lot of things that need to happen for that, right? There are a lot of things that like the community is not leveraging enough. They're not leveraging like merchandise sales and you know, just how loved the personalities are in the fighting game community in general. You think growing organically is better because IMO they won't see it in a reasonable time? But the growth will happen organically either way. Like, I don't think them being a part of it stops us from growing organically. Well, it depends on what you're talking about in terms of growth, but like, in my eyes, like people being granted the ability to have agency over the decisions on, you know, I can choose to play fighting games for a living if I'm good at it and people like me enough. They should be able to pursue that, right? And I feel that way about any passion. Ideally, anyone should be able to do what they're passionate about for a living, I think, as long as they're not hurting anyone and it's not, you know, illegal or whatever. I think fighting games are the same way. And I do think that there is like an ROI at the end of the tunnel. In fact, like, for example, like Smash, right? Smash would be like a top probably top 4-ish esport if Nintendo didn't fuck them over. Like, there is ROI there, and there are companies that want to be a part of it, but they're literally stopped by Nintendo. And so, like, I do think there's something there, right? I do think there's something there. Did they skip, like, yeah, I think what you're talking about is, like, it feels like they skip steps. And, like, it's, like, reasonable that you feel that way, to some extent, but it really sucks for people to be displaced in this manner. It's just, yeah, it's pretty tough. It's a tough conversation. Watch the Brian F video about this. It's a good watch, and you'd love to hear your thoughts about it after watching it. What? Okay. How long is the video though? Community needs a class on marketing. It's not enough to press buttons and say I'm the best and call it a day. If you strive for more, be about something you love or are passionate about, companies need to highlight that too when recording or when recruiting. This is not a hot take. This is just correct. This is just correct. Yeah, it's not really any female characters shouldn't have smaller hurt boxes, I assume they mean. Or maybe they actually do mean hit boxes. I actually trash talk to literal random people should not be normalized at all and should only be amongst peers typically. People take things differently and we should realize that it's community. Wow, this is a fantastic take. This is a fantastic take. Good shit. You think Smash FGC players need to learn how to play the game casually before they learn competitively? Like learning art basics. That's a weird take. Why? If they don't want to do that, then why would I don't know about that. Use characters that feel fun to play in your hands instead of using meta or high tier. You're not playing for money, bro. If people are trying to win and be named as the best player on the earth, they should play the shit that makes it easiest for them. Straight up. UMVC 3 is the best Marvel game. Wesker, Sentinel, Storm, Magneto all needed bluffs. I think he means buffs. And that's definitely a hot take, but Marvel 3 is a really good game. It's a great game. Fighting games are niche because they should be a game mode of a different type of game. That's a weird take. That's a really weird take. Your opinion is that Raccoon Prevails really baited you dumbasses with this cringe meme. Wow, dude, very edgy. I am better than all of you because I chose to not engage in discourse. Nice. Them Fighting Herds is one of the best games since Skullgirls. You just don't like it because of the aesthetic. This is actually... They're right. They're right. They're right. That game is literally only held back by the fact that it's a pony game. This game is actually really good. You're just right. You're just right. Overglorified franchises milking fight turds. Okay. Multiverses, Jump Force, Ultimate Ninja, and Dragon Ball ones are perpetually horrible and unnecessary compared to legit but loosely defined as anime fighting game series like Multi Blood, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, and Under Night. What? Are you just saying you don't want big IPs in your fighting games? Is that what we're trying to say? Perpetually horrible? I don't think that's the case, brother. I mean, to me, Ultimate Ninja, Jump Force, those are not fighting games. I mean, like, they're arena fighters, but it's different, right? I don't think that's like what he's... Yeah, Melty is Fate. Well, Melty's Tsukihime, right? It's not directly Fate. It's from the same people, though. I think it's the same people. I don't think it's directly Fate, though, right? Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, these are like adjacent, right? Like, arena fighters are a little bit different, I think. I mean, Dragon Ball FighterZ is one of the most successful fighting games ever. So I don't really... yeah, I don't really get that. And, like, Multiverses is not a complete game yet, so... I don't know how that's gonna end up, but he just seems calloused. I don't know. He's just pretty much saying, I don't want fighting games to have big IPs associated with them, I guess. I don't really know how I feel about that, honestly. Mortal Kombat fucking 6. Most successful fighting game series. So yeah, it's definitely a hot take. Fighting games are only fun if you're playing with your homies. Other than that, it's a sweaty genre of gaming. But that doesn't have anything to do with enjoyment, though. Like, you can have fun being sweaty against other people. That's like a lot of the fun. Sounds like you get smoked by randoms, and so you're scared to play against them. Most of y'all are soft. Touch grass, touch silk, and stop being corny. Wow, dude. That was such a sick take, bro. Back when I played and went to locals, the Street Fighter dudes would always shit on the Smashers, but the Smash players knew how to have fun and party, and the people that played SF and Amber were just miserable as fuck and awful in the crowd in general. This is not a hot take, but I love this story. I love this story. This is not a hot take. It's not even like a take. It's like him telling us how things were, but I love this story. It's so funny. A lot of the FGC thinks that the FGC is way bigger than it actually is. You gotta share your stash of humble pies with y'all. Man, I almost agree with this. I do think some people have like an overinflated like perception of how big fighting games are. We really are small in the grand scheme of things. Especially if you're one of those people that exclude Smash. If you exclude Smash, fighting games are really, really small. Like, really, really small. But yeah. All fighting games are shit. Just a matter of what shit smells best to you. I mean, there's truth to that. I don't think they're all shit, though. I think that a lot of fighting games are not the best video games as a whole, though. Ed was the best thing about Street Fighter V. Okay. Haven't heard that one before. Worrying about tears when you're not competing. Wait, are they saying that you shouldn't be worrying about tears when you're not competing? Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I feel like I should elaborate a little bit more. If you can only beat someone with one character, they're better than you at Tekken. They just lack matchup knowledge. Man. Is that their fault, though? Is that my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault if I pick a character and I smoke you because I put all of my time into one character and I don't care about anything else, and I smoke you whenever I'm playing my main? I think I'm just better at that point, right? I'm just better. Straight up. I'm just better. Being a casual ain't bad. Rank checking is loser energy. Being a casual ain't bad. That's not a hot take. Rank checking is loser energy. This is just dumb because like ranks are there for a reason. Why would they put a ranking system in the game if people can't go look? I don't. Many people who bully folks over games got nothing else going on in their lives. You don't know that. But I do think it is loser activity. Losing isn't bad. You can learn more from losing than you can from watching people play. This is not... This is not only not a hot take, but it's also like not true, because everyone learns differently. There are people that learn more from watching than playing. So yeah, being a person who plays fighting games doesn't make you tougher than people who don't play fighting games. Is this a hot take? Okay. The best part of the FGC are the memes and people being funny. More people should be funny. I agree. More people should be funny. I know y'all can pull off the sickest whip punishes or comebacks, you pieces of shit. But being funny though, I have my doubts. Yeah, is this a take that the FGC is not funny? I actually kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that. I think when effort is put in, there's some great content in the fighting game community. Like some absolutely fantastic content. But unfortunately, that type of content is not done nearly enough. Unfortunately. Sometimes it feels like it's funny for the wrong reasons. Like sometimes I'm laughing because just like you can't be a real person. Like what are you doing? Like what are you doing? Uh-oh, this guy again. He had a horrible take before. Let's see. This can go with games in general, but esports got you little niggas too comfortable disrespecting people in general just because you winning in a video game. Act like you won't get smacked the fuck out. I don't know what he's talking about. This is like another one of those things where he has someone in mind, but he's not going to tell us who. He has someone in mind when he made this, but he's not telling us who it is. Just say their name, bro. Let them know. I don't know who you're talking about. Let's go. FGC is one of the most welcoming communities, but sometimes stops its growth by making the game seem harder than they are. Yeah, I mean, I don't have metrics for this most welcoming communities. People keep saying this, but I don't think they actually like are in these other communities to understand how welcoming or not welcoming they are. It just feels like generalized statements. Why is real fighting so valuable to people? Yeah, it's so like I don't think that people should be punching each other in the face over video games. Hot take. There are other fighting game community. There are other game communities that are very welcoming. I don't know why people think that they're not. Maybe it's intimidating to them because those communities are bigger, but like, I think there are welcoming parts of every community and really asshole people in every community as well. Like, I don't let people play what they want and stop bitching. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is true in terms of controllers. As long as the controller is legal, then yeah, let them rock. Absolutely. If the controller is legal, then they should not face scrutiny for playing on a legal controller. There was this... wow, bro. That's up. Banning things never makes a game better. It doesn't make a game better, but it can make the experience better for the players. But that's only reserved for the slimmest of circumstances. Like, this doesn't happen very often, especially nowadays because games get patched often. But like, it's not about making the game itself better. It's about making the experience better for people and also making sure that the skills that we hold valuable are tested in the environment that we want them to be tested in. But yeah, he's pretty much saying we can't patch the games ourselves. Duh. Like, duh. But yeah, you can still make the experience better though. No fucking overhead should combo into 80% of your health bar. It depends. How slow is the overhead? If the overhead is 120 frames, then you should die. They were like, y'all turn this channel into matchmaking channel into a community. What? That's a good thing. Why would you not want a community? Like, that's the whole reason I'm here. Like, I don't know. I don't get people. No matter the skill, you can get random out. Doesn't matter who you are. It's impossible to be prepared for every single situation. It's okay to say this nigga random. I think if you're unprepared for something, doesn't necessarily mean that they're random though. Like, people like to use the term random to refer to unfamiliar, like to mask their unfamiliarity. Like, what they want to say is that what they don't want to say is, I wasn't prepared for this and it caught me off guard. Well, instead, they're offloading the responsibility onto that person. That guy's random. That's the reason I lost. Not because I wasn't prepared, because that guy's random. When in reality, it's like, you probably should have been better prepared. Maybe you weren't as prepared as you thought you were. Because sometimes people can seem random, but they're not actually being random. And then there are people that actually are random. So yeah. You know, people use it as like an insult, like very often. The FGC is no better at handling allegations than the Smash scene, and the art info shit shows just that. Seeing niggas like Bum say, even if he's innocent, I won't believe him. We have to have it out for him because he surely wasn't trying to help. Wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. This first part is true. That's because people are slowly realizing that the FGC and the Smash community are the same community. They are. Yep. It's all the same shit. People are just starting to realize that. I don't even want to address this shit down here. That's just a lot. That's just a lot. Soul Calibur 6 characters creation was low-key horrible. I don't have any opinion on that. The classic Mortal Kombat is ass. Best-selling fighting game. Once again. Here's mine. Stop doing this shit and go practice instead. This does not take a long time to do, bro. It's an image and some text. You think he has to sacrifice all of his practice for all time to make a tweet? Is that what you think? And you're quote tweeting it. You should be practicing. Just lab it is pretentious and seem like I won't tell you, Google it. Acting all high and mighty. If you have the answer, save everyone time and share with the class. Why should I waste my time when you're alluding to have the answer? If you don't, then shut the fuck up. There's some correct parts of this and some incorrect parts of this. There's value in people learning how to lab out situations themselves, and I think that is a skill that we should instill in new players. Teaching people how to lab is very valuable, so that whenever they go on to other fighting games, they know what they're doing and they can attack these situations in a better way. I think that's fine. Just because you have the answer doesn't mean that, like, it's the teach the man how to fish argument, right? Like, if you give a man a fish, like, you know, he's no longer hungry for that day, but he's gonna get hungry again. If you teach him how to fish, then he can feed himself, right? And it's the same thing here. So, like, I really think I think how the person in question is acting in the situation matters a lot for how I would attack this, but, like, teaching people how to lab is a good thing. If they're being dismissive and just saying just lab it to everything, then that's, like, pretty dumb. Because you have nothing to gain from doing that. Like, unless you're relying on gimmicks and you know that you're relying on gimmicks and you think that the only way you can win is if people don't figure out your gimmicks. That's what this reads like to me. If people are acting like that, but it's not a waste of time for you shouldn't treat it as a waste of time. Like you said, why should I waste my time? Right? It's not a waste of time. Like, going through the process of finding a specific answer to something that's giving you trouble, that's not a waste of time. That makes you a better fighting game player. It gives you better fundamentals. Yeah. You guys quote retweet this more than you practice and wonder why you join in pools. Once again, bro, Omega Tom Hanks always has some shit, bro. Always Omega Tom Hanks. I always say some shit. He's a good amount of FGC players are whiny as fuck and bitch and moan whenever something they don't understand and refuse to learn beats them or wins the tournament. I mean, like, social media. Everyone don't lab. What? You know you don't, because most of the time you're playing a character you don't like and you're not dealing with something I'm doing properly. This is a pretty crazy generalization, man. I think you might have yourself on a little bit of a pedestal here. Empire Arcadia is the only FGC organization that has withstood the test of time. Yikes. That is ugly. No. No. Just no. The best players in the FGC play more than one fighting game and are humble about their wins or losses. This isn't a hot take, this is advice. Well, if it's not a hot take, then I'm not gonna adjust it. Come on, bro. Yeah, you didn't follow the instructions. It says take that has you like this. I'm not here to listen to your exposition. Any strategy that nets someone a win is valid for that circumstance. You lost to someone who did D4 slide 4 times in a row. Clearly that strategy worked on you, and instead of calling them ass for not playing properly, maybe ask yourself what you can do differently next time. This is a fine thing. I don't think it's a hot take though. I don't think it's really a hot take. But yeah, people just look for things to blame, man. Like I said, defensive play is 100 times more hyped than overpowered offense. That actually is a hot take. I think most people tend to bias towards flashy offense more than solid defense. So yeah, cool. Yeah. As long as it's interactive, defense is sick. Yeah. Simplified controls haven't ruined fighting games. The entry barrier lowers, sure, but the ceiling is still there for veterans to continue labbing for higher execution combos. Stop gatekeeping. Not everyone needs to require 60+ hours in the lab just to play online. I just kind of agree with this. Like, I think they're just, yeah. I do think that this is like hyperbolized a little bit though. 60+ hours in the lab just to play online. I don't know about that. You can just jump in if you really want to. Like, a lot of people get away with bullshit in the community because they're good at pressing buttons. Duh. It's not a hot take. That's just true. You didn't win the match. Their strategy wasn't bullshit. Their connection was fine. Okay. Winning the first to 10 born from someone stupid Twitter tournament beef barely settles anything. Oh, okay. I see. You think that there are just some more bad players than people would care less than having to learn combos? Yeah, sure. Players complain that their game doesn't have rollback, but the real question is, does your game that you play even deserve rollback? What? Horrible take. What the fuck? What kind of take is this? Everyone should have the ability to play the game that they want to play online in playable conditions, bro. There is no deserve or not deserve. What? Doesn't make any sense. What kind of high horse shit is that? Triforce was right in the end. Fighting games will be niche forever, and the harsh reality is fighting games have to try another genre to grab audience these devs publishers are looking for. I don't think he's right, actually. Triforce is the person that ran Empire Arcadia. He's known for scooping up a bunch of players as part of his org, as part of his empire, and like not paying them and stuff like that. It's ugly. There's a lot of controversy around it. He's known for walking around with a power glove on at tournaments. But yeah, I don't. Yeah. People are waiting for Mortal Kombat 12 to get their heads out of the cloud. Wait, people that are waiting for Mortal Kombat 12 need it. Why? Why? How do you have two horrible takes back to back like this? You came back for more? You had this dog shit take, and then you come back and you have this? Like, what? People are allowed to be excited for things. What's wrong with you? When you dunk on new players on fighting games in casual matches? I don't understand the take here, but okay. Mirror matches deep down hurt the ego just a little bit. Niggas say it don't mean shit, but deep down you didn't want to lose that shit. I do think that there is an aversion to mirror matches in pretty much any competitive game, actually. Well, definitely MOBAs, definitely fighting games. Shooters, not really. But I don't even think MOBAs let you mirror. MOBAs don't let you mirror in the actual competitive format, I don't think. Like, you both can't pick the same champion, so it doesn't really happen. Yeah, thank you for the follow. 90% of fighting game players will never play with others to train or spar with, but remind you they will complain and call everyone whack when they lose on stream or at an offline event. Sure, man. Like, there's a small amount of people that could apply to. Sure. Anyone dunking on newer games for being too easy needs to post their own replays with proof. Pretty funny. Fighting game player bases are some of the most polarizing people you've ever seen. The worst people are the ones that say a game is easy, but never does anything in the previous game or current game. In other worlds, there are a lot of ego-driven clowns. It's the nature of 1v1 competition. not everyone can lab. I disagree. A lot of you niggas need to get a job. Like, what is this? Like, wow, dude, oh my god, he's so woke, he's so cool. Like cool, man. Like, guys, the FGC died after 09. Okay. And why are you quote retweeting this in 2023? There's no such thing as a perfect fighting game. A fighting game can come close to it, but we all know it's gonna have some issues within 1 to 2 weeks prior to the release. There's no such thing as a perfect game. Yeah, I mean, that's not a hot take. FTC niggas is soft as fuck. A lot of niggas and niggettes cannot take a goddamn joke. Some of the shit that gets paraded as jokes is not jokes though. I hope we can understand that a lot of the stuff that people react to, right? A lot of the time, like, people will say, oh, it's a joke. That shit was not funny, and that shit was hurtful to someone. And so if you say some shit and it's not funny, and you also offend people, you gotta hold that. You're gonna suffer consequences. That's all. Y'all don't give me credit, but my accolades prove I'm amongst NA top players. If not for y'all hating ass niggas getting me banned, interrupting my grind, I'd still be busting y'all asses like my name was Fleece Johnson. Who are you? Who? Who? I mean, if you got banned, you probably deserved it, bro. Let me keep it real. Like, you probably deserved it. It takes a lot to, bro, as a fighting game player, it takes a lot to get banned. I hope you guys understand this. It takes a lot for a fighting game player to get banned. If you got banned from a fighting game community, you probably deserve that shit. You probably deserve that shit, because it takes a lot to get to that point. Using high tier characters doesn't make you automatically a bad carried unskilled player. Of course not. Using a low tier character doesn't make you automatically a better skilled player. This isn't a hot take. This is just, yeah. All you top players aren't special. Y'all fucking suck. The fact that you had to designate them, this is Robbie, by the way. The fact that you designated them as top players, I mean, that just says everything that we need to, right? Like, if I say the term top players and you can name players that align with that, then you already made my point, bro. And they obviously don't suck because they're the best. Just because a player is better than you doesn't mean their takes are better than yours. Oh, of course not. I beat you, so my opinion is better than yours. Fuck out of here. I like this take because a lot of people do think that, like, somehow everything that I say is correct because I'm better than you at the game. That's not the case at all. Especially when we talk about things outside of fighting games. But even within, you can still have a really fucked up, warped perception of the game and still be better than someone. That can happen. That doesn't mean that you're correct, though. Shao top tier. Okay. Mortal Kombat's the greatest fighting game, and it's not because of gameplay. It did what no other game will be able to do, and that's create the ESRB. That alone makes it stand out from the rest. Gameplay 9 through X are the best, but 11 ruined it. The greatest fighting game, and not because of gameplay. Why would that qualify it as the greatest fighting game, though? Like, what? That doesn't make sense. It's cool to acknowledge it for doing so, but, like, I don't see how that would make it better than... All of my opinions, y'all whack as fun. Wow, dude. I think people, can I just say something? I think people that say things like all of y'all or all of these people or all, I think people that make generalizations like that are the most uncreative people I've ever interacted with. Like, can we agree on that? Like, I think it's so uncreative, bro. You can be so much funnier. You can be so much funnier than this. Like, it's so lazy to be like, all of y'all suck. None of y'all are good. If you're a top player, you're bad. Like, y'all can be so much better than this. Holy shit. People only use the term aggression as an excuse to press buttons with no strategy involved. No, there is strategy with aggression and not aggressive. What? That doesn't make sense. Excuse me? Aggression is a strategy in some cases. Like, what? Y'all be too broke to have any type of attitude towards you? Why? You think money makes your shit's not dog shit? I'll tell you right now that it doesn't. Downplaying has gotten so out of control in these communities that I don't think the devs take feedback on balancing serious anymore. I disagree, because I think devs pay a lot of attention to Twitter and shit, actually. So yeah, I don't think I agree with that. Some Twitter people praise a lot that they are part of the FGC and make up a lot of drama here. Meanwhile, I've never seen clips or anything of them playing the actual games. Who cares? Whoa, 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 whoa! I hate this take. Thank you. I hate it. I hate this take because there is more to a fighting game community than just players. Do you think that fighting game community is limited to only people that actively play a game? Because I don't think that's the case. I think viewers, I think analysts, coaches, tournament organizers, you know, just straight up casuals that like looking at the game every now and then, like I think they're all part of the community too. So I don't think you have to like have clips and shit like that. So like, yeah, I think you're still part of the community. I don't know. That might be a hot take. I don't know. Akuma isn't hard in Tekken. He just has regular 2D Street Fighter execution that most Tekken players ain't used to. So what you're saying is that it's difficult for them. Is what you're saying. What you're saying he's not that hard in Tekken, but it's hard for Tekken players. Nice. Nice. Is that it? That is it. Wow. Whew, that was a lot. That was a lot. Yeah, I think people are a little crazy. When it comes to this stuff, honestly, but if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to give me your hot take, your FTC hot take in the comments below. Don't be afraid. You never know. It might not even be that hot of a take. There's a lot of people that think that what they're saying is the hot take, but it's actually not. But yeah, I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about the FGC? It's completely open-ended. Just please don't be offensive. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Okay, video is recorded.